Sup guys? This time I'm going to be going over Kawakaze's Augment, and I will be comparing her to Kitakaze as they have a bit of similarity. First, looking at Kitakaze, her biggest strength is that she deals great damage regardless of armor type, but she is not without her shortcomings. About half her damage comes from her guns, which is a good thing in regards to damage uptime and general reliability, but it can lead to a couple issues. Gun damage is susceptible to being hindered by enemy shields, and has no Oxytorp scaling, which is not ideal when you want to maximize the damage you can get out of a destroyer. Additionally, she is quite self-centered and offers no support to the team, which causes her to get Aurora checked quite easily. The final weakness is that she is quite squishy. Now, when we look at Kawakaze, she has the same strength in that she deals about the same damage against all armor types, but essentially all of her damage comes from torpedoes. So not only does she ignore shields completely, but she also has insane Oxytorp scaling. She also offers a decent damage buff against cruisers for her fellow IJN destroyers, which include the likes of Shimakaze and Yudachi, who are quite the powerhouses themselves. The unique augment also gives her some damage reduction, making her about as tanky with one toolbox as Kitakaze is with two. Looking at her main gun with the 76mm, we can see here 0.5 seconds plus 0.12 from her absolute cooldown will give you a total of 0.62 second cooldown, which means that she fires her barrage about every 3.1 seconds, giving her almost 100% uptime on the damage reduction buff. She is currently level 120 with not quite yet 200 affection, but I'm pretty sure that even at level 125 and 200 affection, her reload will remain the same. What is more insane is the damage of the barrage itself. It fires 3 aimed slashes that have a total of 195 base damage, so in 18.6 seconds it will proc 6 times and deal a total of 1170 damage. To put things into perspective, let's take the 1170 damage and divide it by 1.5, because her torpedo slot has 150% efficiency. This puts it at 780 damage, which we can now compare to the base damage of her torpedoes. Plus 13 quad mags have a total damage of 684, and that is assuming that you hit all 4 torps, and the cooldown on her is 19.04 seconds. So her augment pretty much gave her more DPS than a plus 13 quad mag, with pretty much 100% hit rate, because it's aimed, which quad mags can't even guarantee to reach. So we're looking at a more than 2x increase in her total damage output through the augment alone. Hopefully now you can see why the 76mm beats out the 100mm. With that being said, let's see how it stacks up to Kitakaze in practice. I ran a Vanguard of Wakatsuki, Kitakaze, and Kawakaze in 13.4 for a total of 23-star carrier and 23-star battleship nodes. Notice that I ran 1 Oxytorp on all of them, but Kitakaze is generally ran with 2 toolboxes, which has the same EHP as Kawakaze with toolbox and Oxytorp. From the carrier nodes, we can see that Kawakaze's damage is well above Wakatsuki and Kitakaze's, and this is without even factoring in the bonus damage that Wakatsuki and Kitakaze are getting from her buff. Next, let's look at the results from the battleship nodes. This time Kitakaze won by 5%, meaning that if at least 2.5% of her damage came from Kawakaze's buff, then Kawakaze's total contribution would be above Kitakaze's, and that's not even mentioning her buff to Wakatsuki. So let's take a look at what type of enemies are found in this specific node. This resource here lists the stats of the enemies from campaign stages. We can open up chapter 13.4, and then select the 3-star battleship node, and then go down the list to see how many cruisers are in this node that Kawakaze's buff is effective against. We start with an Alba, and then we have double spawn of Abukuma and Nachi, and then more cruisers, and look, cruisers everywhere. The cruisers make up for more than half the total HP of the entire node, so if we assume that Kawakaze's buff was active for half the time, we can see that her total output is well above that of Kitakaze. Aside from Chapter 13, I also have some tests of Kawakaze against Gorizia in EX. She outperformed every ship that I ran her alongside. Here's a few runs with Kitakaze. Since she's punching above Kitakaze's grade, she's more or less in the realm of Shimakaze and Yudachi, probably being able to match or exceed even Yudachi's damage at 2 Oxytorps, because Yudachi's guns don't scale to Oxytorps. But I'll have to completely max her before making that conclusion. In any case, I hope that I've been able to demonstrate just how insanely strong Kawakaze's Augment is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.